Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. PM Modi leads debate on 150 years of Vande Mataram in lower house of the parliament. Says the government wants to restore the glory of national song of India. Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu slams IndiGo, says should have managed crew and roster, assures a very strict action to set an example for all. Volodymyr Zelensky heads to London for talks with allies, expected to meet French, British and German leaders. Further talks planned in Brussels. Thailand launches airstrikes at Cambodia as border tensions reignite after two sides trade charges of breaching peace. Cambodia increases deployment of troops and weapons. Prime Minister Narendra Modi opened a 10-hour discussion in the Lok Sabha on Monday to mark the 150th anniversary of the national song Vande Mataram, a discussion expected to highlight several significant and lesser-known facets of its history. Two debates on the national song are scheduled to be held over the coming week in the two houses of Parliament. The Rajya Sabha will begin debate on 150th anniversary of Vande Mataram on Tuesday. In his address, PM Modi said that the journey of Vande Mataram began in 1875. Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay wrote the song when after the 1857 revolution, the people of India were being oppressed.
वंदे मातरम की इस यात्रा की शुरुआत बंकिम चंद्र जी ने 1875 में की थी और गीत ऐसे समय लिखा गया था जब 1857 के स्वातंत्र संग्राम के बाद अंग्रेज सल्तनत बौखलाई हुई थी, भारत पर भांति भांति के दबाव डाल रही थी, भांति भांति के जुल्म कर रही थी और भारत के लोगों को मजबूर किया जा रहा था अंग्रेजों के द्वारा। और उस समय उनका जो राष्ट्रीय गीत था, गॉड सेव द क्वीन, इसको भारत में घर घर पहुंचाने का एक षड्यंत्र चल रहा था। ऐसे समय बंकिम दा ने चुनौती दी और ईंट का जवाब पत्थर से दिया और उसमें से वंदे मातरम का जन्म हुआ।
All right, we'll go across live now. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is speaking at the Rajya Sabha. We'll come back to that, but PM Modi. All right, we'll go back to our previous story, the debate on Vande Mataram. PM Modi said Congress compromised about Vande Mataram under the guise of secularism and communal harmony.
देश का दुर्भाग्य कि 26 अक्टूबर को कांग्रेस ने वंदे मातरम पर समझौता कर लिया। वंदे मातरम के टुकड़े कर दिए। उस फैसले के पीछे नकाब ये पहना गया, चोला ये पहना गया कि ये तो सामाजिक सद्भाव का काम है। लेकिन इतिहास इस बात का गवाह है कि कांग्रेस ने मुस्लिम लीग के सामने घुटने टेक दिए और मुस्लिम लीग के दबाव में किया। और कांग्रेस का ये तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति को साधने का एक तरीका था।
All right, for more on this, we are joined by DD India's Dharmendra Mandal. Dharmendra, PM Modi spoke for an hour almost. He leads the debate and has set the tone with his opening remarks. Tell us what stood out in his speech.
Well, Abhishek, it was, of course, more than, in fact, an hour-long speech of the Prime Minister who initiated the debate on the completion of 150 years of Vande Mataram, I beg your pardon, written a song that has been written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, in fact, a literaturist from the soil of Bengal. He did speak about how this song has given inspiration to millions of people across the country during the freedom struggle and the freedom movement against the British colonial rule. He did say that the song is still relevant in today's world because of the fact that it invokes a sense of patriotism, it invokes a sense of nationalism and a national pride amongst the people. He did also mention about the fact that how the youth of today should remember this song, because this song entails important details of the past of this country, where freedom fighters drew inspiration from this song that gave them the courage to fight against the British colonial rule. So therefore the path towards Viksit Bharat is also not that easy. But of course this song, he did mention, would help drive not just the government but also the people of this country work together for Viksit Bharat in 2047, which is a developed nation in 2047. So therefore he also invoked a sense of pride, a sense of nationalism amongst not just the parliamentarians, but through his speech he did try to recall and remember how Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, when he was writing this song, he kept in mind that this song would give the courage and the inspiration to the freedom fighters, the young freedom fighters like Master Surya Sen, who was later put in jail by the British. He was a revolutionary. He did mention about him during his speech. So therefore, he by recalling the past, by recalling the history and the legacy of such a culturally rich song such as Vande Mataram, draws a sense of patriotism amongst the people of this country. So therefore, this song still holds relevance. He also did mention about how this song is sung by the forces in the Indian Defence Services, and how the Defence Services draws inspiration to protect the motherland from this song that was written almost 150 years back and still holds relevance in today's world.
Dharmendra, also he revisited the historical roots of Vande Mataram and its role also in the freedom struggle. Tell us how MPs across parties responded to that.
Well, Abhishek, we did see a lot of bench thumping happening during his speech when at the end of the speech, when he did chant that Vande Mataram on the floor of the House, we did see a lot of thumping coming, not just from the treasury benches but also from the opposition benches, because this song unites every individual cutting across party lines. And therefore, which is the reason I feel that both the treasury as well as the opposition came together to dedicate 10 long hours for discussion on this important issue of this song being celebrated, in fact marking 150 years of celebration. The government had also earlier did launch the one-year-long celebration of this song, which was written back in the 1800s. And it's completing 150 years. So therefore, this unites people cutting across religion, cutting across political party ideologies, caste, creed, and all other such barriers. And as it did unite the people of India during the colonial rule, it still unites people even today. So therefore, we did see a lot of silence, from the opposition benches, which generally, brings out some remark or the other during the Prime Minister's speech. But this time around, we did not see any of the opposition benches reacting or trying to create chaos, because this song, evokes a sense of national pride amongst all the people of this country.
Dharmendra, also, did he introduce any lesser known facts, or maybe interpretations that could influence how the debate unfolds over the next several hours?
Well, Abhishek, interestingly, he did, point out about how Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was the architect of the partition of India, did raise some objection to certain paragraphs of that song and had written a letter to Jawaharlal Nehru during that period of time, and how Jawaharlal Nehru ceded to the request of Muhammad Ali Jinnah and deleted certain paragraphs from that song, which is no longer sung during the modern, what we know as the modern Vande Mataram song. So therefore, he did bring out that trivia towards bringing out this interesting fact to the people of this country. He did also speak about how Mahatma Gandhi had praised the song, and how Mahatma Gandhi had then said that this song is a song that will help in fact, tie all Indians in one thread, because this is a song that praises the motherland, India, and talks about the greatness of India and what India holds. He also did speak about Subhash Chandra Bose, Rabindranath Tagore, and all of those, intellectuals that existed at that point in time, and how they had, praised the writings of Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, and not just his writing, but also did speak about how this song has become the cry for India's freedom movement.
All right, the Bindu, stay with us. We'll come back to you. But for more insights, we are also joined by Professor Himanshu Kumar Chaturvedi, Director, Indian Institute of Advanced Study, Shimla, and member ICHR, New Delhi. Welcome, sir. Appreciate you giving us your precious time. Let's start with the core of the speech of Prime Minister Modi. The Prime Minister framed Vande Mataram as a mantra that energized the freedom struggle. How do you read the significance of placing it in that spiritual and emotional context?
I was listening to the speech of the Honorable Prime Minister on Vande Mataram. And as far as my insight goes as a historian, he has hardly left anything on the historical perspective of Vande Mataram. So, whereas the emotional aspect is concerned, we have to be very clear that how this colonial rule was taken up as a demon, and how it should reach to the average, all the people of the nation, that how this demon needs to be removed, how we should fight it, and naturally the story of the demon and the mother goddess, it goes together. And here the whole land has been taken not as only as a geographical expression. The whole land of the Bharat is being viewed as a Janani, which is very important to Indian ethos and Indian civilizational values. That how this the whole motherland of the Janani is being exploited by this foreign rule. So that was the message through Anand Math in 1882 by Bankim. Not only this, let me go back a much bit earlier in 1862 to 1864. Madhusudan Datta is also writing the few things in his own ways. So this Vande Mataram and as a national song is very dearly connected to the whole phase of the Indian national movement. And this emotional appeal turned into the national appeal. You can't look at the nation without being emotional. You ought to have some bhavanatmak connectivity with the land itself, which is being depicted as a motherland to us. So, whereas the historical, issues are concerned, what I said earlier, the Honorable Prime Minister has hardly left anything untouched on the historical grounds.
Also, Professor, I mean, the PM called it a privilege for Parliament to mark 150 years of the song Vande Mataram. What does that say about the symbolic weight the government is attaching to this movement?
Indeed, it is very important to celebrate the 150th year because the kind of, challenges we faced in the post-colonial days and the debates revolving around Vande Mataram, I would say rather unnecessary debates. And let me go into the historicism of these debates and why this 150th year need to be celebrated the way it is being celebrated. This is just for the information of the viewers that not only Vande Mataram, even Bankim was attacked in, say, journals which were published in Bengal. Let me quote one by Ghulam Hussain in 1910. He attacked Bankim personally. Then they started writing parodies on Bankim and his writings, like by Abdul Hussain Jan Bahadur in 1924. So this kind of vociferous campaign was taken up by few before 1920 also. But nobody can deny what the Honorable Prime Minister quoted today, that when this song was sung for the first time on 7th of August 1905, how did the father of the nation, that's Mahatma Gandhi, reacted to it? He quoted that opinion of his, which was published in the Indian Opinion of 2nd December 1905. And on that very day, in that very year, in December 1905, Mahatma Gandhi said that it is as good as a national song. So Vande Mataram has got to do a lot with our thought process towards our motherland. So the importance is still the same. What importance we had of this song in our colonial times when we were fighting the foreign yoke or the foreign rule. So Vande Mataram connecting our connectivity to our motherland, our binding with our motherland, our emotions with our motherland, they need to be intact in the same way that we witnessed it during the colonial yoke when we were fighting, when our princes were fighting for the independence of the nation.
Also, Dibyendu is also with us, Read India correspondent. Dibyendu, this is a rare 10-hour structured discussion on Vande Mataram. What kind of death should we expect?
Sorry, Abhishek, your audio was...
I was asking you that this is a rare 10-hour structured discussion. What kind of death should we expect? Tomorrow, a discussion will be held in Rajya Sabha.
Well, Abhishek, absolutely. You know, it's a 10-hour long discussion which is being held in the Lok Sabha as we speak. We'll see a plethora of speakers cutting across political party lines that will put out their version, their opinions on the floor of the House. The debate was opened by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We'll see a line of speakers from the BJP who has been allotted 3 hours for this discussion. We'll see speakers like Rajnath Singh, the Defence Minister, Anurag Singh Thakur. We'll also see an MP from Bengal, Soumitra Kha, who will also express his opinion, because remember, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay comes from Bengal and his roots are in Bengal. So therefore, this song was also written in Bengali. So therefore, having a Bengali MP speaking on this important issue, the BJP has crafted the strategy extremely carefully, because to ensure that participation from various various sections of the parliamentarians representing different parts of the country is taken into account when discussion on this happens. We'll also see members of parliament from other political parties, including the Congress, Gaurav Gogoi, Priyanka Gandhi, Akhilesh Yadav from the Samajwadi Party. We'll also see others from the Trinamool Congress speaking on this issue. As far as the NDA alliance partners are concerned, all the NDA alliance partners, including the TDP, JDU, the larger alliance partners, and even the smaller alliance partners will be given adequate time to put in their thoughts and opinions on this matter. And of course, the whole point of this discussion in the parliament is, of course, to bringing out to make sure that the younger generation remembers the ethos of this song that was written 150 years, to remind them of the relevance and importance of the song Vande Mataram, which united people back then and still holds relevance in today's contemporary modern India. So therefore, after this discussion ends today in the Lok Sabha, tomorrow a similar discussion will be taking place in the Rajya Sabha, and Indian Home Minister Amit Shah will open the floor for this discussion from the government side, Abhishek.
Professor Chaturvedi, I mean, PM compared the song's milestones with two difficult periods. And you also mentioned about colonialism and also the emergency. What was he trying to convey through that contrast between these two periods?
I mean, the message, as per my perception, was very clear. Whenever the motherland is being challenged, either in the way of the emergency or in the way of the colonial rule, Vande Mataram gives us the right path, the right way to fight these kind of situations, which are very difficult to fight against the state power. So the message was very loud and clear that this song, I mean, it always makes us remember that if something which is not to our ethos is being done, if our, say, civilizational values of democracy, civilizational values, our culture are being challenged, then this song happens to be as our best recourse. And in all these tough situations and all these times of the challenges, this song holds a very high spirit for all of us to remember that how we fought the demon of the colonial rule and how we can fought the other challenges which were being thrown at us at any given time by the state or by any other state agency which challenges our basic fundamentals.
Absolutely. And he also said that remembering that sacred Vande Mataram today is a great privilege for all of us in this house.
Yes.
All right, Professor Chaturvedi, thank you for your insights, and also Dibyendu, thank you for your inputs. Moving on, Union Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu Kinjarapu on Monday said IndiGo crisis happened due to problems in its crew rostering and internal planning system. Replying to a question in the Rajya Sabha or upper house of the Indian Parliament, Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu said IndiGo's internal system was responsible for the crisis that resulted in large-scale flight cancellations.
There was 1 full month of operations in the new FDTL also. Why I am mentioning this point, even though we are saying because of the FTTL this situation has arisen, there have been a lot of internal complications. This is a day-to-day operations thing that the IndiGo should have maintained. IndiGo was supposed to manage the crew, was supposed to manage the roster through its day-to-day operations. We are there to check if the FDTL is properly implemented or not, and there has been no compromise on that side. And for 1 thorough full month we have been observing. On 1st of December, we had a meeting with IndiGo on FDTL itself. When they required some clarifications, we have given the clarifications also with that idea, and they have not flagged this issue. So everything was running normal till then. Suddenly we have observed this on 3rd. Immediately when this was observed, the ministry came into the picture. We have taken over the situation at the airports. We have consulted all the stakeholders, and then you have seen how things have unfolded for those 2 days. Definitely, there was a lot of difficulty that has faced by the passengers. We are doing an inquiry, and we will take very, very strict action, not only for this situation, but also as an example. We will set an example for all the airlines. If there is any miscompliance, any non-compliance or non-adherence for any single person, any entity or any organization or any operator functioning in this civil aviation, we will take very, very strict action so that we set an example in the industry.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court declined an urgent hearing this morning on a plea seeking suo motu intervention over IndiGo crisis. The court noted that the union government has already taken cognizance of the crisis. The bench reiterated that since executive authorities were actively handling the situation, judicial intervention at this stage was unwarranted. The plea urges the Supreme Court to seek a status report from the DGCA and the Ministry of Civil Aviation on the root cause of the crisis and ongoing remedial measures. A similar petition was also filed before the Delhi High Court today only, seeking urgent judicial intervention in the ongoing IndiGo crisis. The petition called for directions to both the central government and IndiGo to ensure immediate assistance, proper refunds and adequate support for thousands of stranded passengers. The division bench observed that the issue is already being examined by the concerned authorities. Nevertheless, the Delhi High Court agreed to hear the matter in detail on Wednesday, December 10. The ongoing IndiGo situation in Indira Gandhi International Airport in New Delhi has issued an advisory stating that IndiGo flights may continue to face delays and urge passengers to check the latest flight status with airlines. It added that airport teams are working closely to manage the situation, minimize disruptions and ensure a smooth travel experience for all. And Indian Railways is running special trains from Monday to help passengers amid flight cancellations and winter travel demand. A total of 89 special train services making over 100 trips will operate over the next 3 days across multiple zones. Central Railway will run 14 special trains. Railways will also operate additional services from major cities. These trains aim to manage the extra passenger rush, ensure connectivity and facilitate smoother winter travel across the country. Shifting focus now, India's Minister for Education Dharmendra and Australian Minister for Education Jason Clare hosted the third Australia-India Education and Skills Council meeting in Delhi on Monday. The meeting focused on advancing educational collaboration and exploring key bilateral initiatives. The two leaders also reviewed the existing cooperation in education, innovation, research and had meaningful discussions on further strengthening engagements across the entire education spectrum from preschool to PhD. One of Australia's top universities ranked in QS World University Rankings Top 20 is set to establish a campus in India. Minister Dharmendra and Jason Clare handed over the letter of intent to the University of New South Wales on the sidelines of the third AIESC meeting. And India's Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Jayant Chaudhary held a bilateral meeting with Australia's Minister for Skills and Training Andrew Giles in the national capital on Monday. The discussions held as part of the Australia-India Education and Skills Council focused on advancing cooperation in vocational education, skilling ecosystems, institutional partnerships and pathways for a modern, future-ready workforce. Moving on, a new UIDAI rule will soon prohibit hotels and event organizers from collecting photocopies of Aadhaar cards, promoting digital QR-based verification to strengthen privacy, eliminate paper storage risk and align authentication systems with upcoming data protection law in India nationwide. The Unique Identification Authority of India has approved a new rule that will require entities like hotels and event organizers to register with the authority if they want to use Aadhaar to verify the identities of customers. Hotels and event planners will no longer need to take photocopies of guests' Aadhaar cards. They will now be obligated to use digital verification methods for all Aadhaar verifications. According to the official, entities seeking offline verification will be granted access to an application programming interface, allowing them to update their systems for seamless Aadhaar verification. Not only does this change comply with the Aadhaar Act, it significantly reduces the chance of data leakage while also making it easier for the consumers. Time now for a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Israel's Netanyahu to discuss second phase of Gaza plan with Trump later this month. Japan summons China envoy over fighter jet incident.
And the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran. The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching the India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of our top stories. PM Modi leads debate on 150 years of Vande Mataram in lower house of the Parliament. Says the government wants to restore the glory of National Song of India. Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu slams IndiGo. Says should have managed crew and roster. Assures a very strict action to set an example for all. Zelensky heads to London for talks with allies, expected to meet French, British and German leaders for the talks planned in Brussels. Cambodian villagers began fleeing the border region with Thailand as fighting erupted once again on Monday after the Thai army launched airstrikes on Cambodia after Cambodian troops fired on Thai soldiers, killing one soldier. Meanwhile, Cambodia said that 4 killed Cambodian civilians were killed in Monday border clashes. Thailand accused Cambodian forces of using supporting fire weapons, which resulted in casualties, while Cambodia's defense ministry denied retaliation, claiming Thai forces attacked early Monday in Phra Vihar and Aadhaar provinces. Cambodia also accused Thailand of firing multiple tank shots near the Tamon Som temple and Phra Vihar temple.
The Defense Ministry of Cambodia strongly condemns the inhumane and brutal acts. These clearly show that the Thai side violated the ceasefire and the joint declaration between Cambodia and Thailand that was signed by the Prime Ministers from both Cambodia and Thailand on October 26, 2025, with the witness of US President Donald Trump and Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who is the current ASEAN chair.
Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim on Monday urged Thailand and Cambodia to exercise restraint after new clashes broke out, warning that the fighting could undo the fragile ceasefire he helped broker. Anwar, chair of ASEAN, posted on Facebook urging both sides to maintain communication and use existing mechanisms. Thailand launched airstrikes after both countries accused each other of violating a ceasefire brokered by US President Trump. At least 1 Thai soldier was killed and 4 others wounded in clashes in Ubon Ratchathani. Cambodia denied retaliation, saying Thai forces attacked first after provocative actions. And talks between US and Ukrainian negotiators over a proposed peace deal with Russia ended in Miami this weekend, with few new developments and lingering questions over security guarantees and territorial issues. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has provided a fresh update on peace talks with the US, saying they have been constructive but not easy.
We spoke with Stephen Witkoff and Jared Kushner. I thank them for their readiness to work together 24/7. The American representatives know the basic Ukrainian positions. The conversation was constructive, although not easy.
And the comments from Zelensky come ahead of key talks between the Ukrainian leader, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, France's Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz in London on Monday.
We continue to work. Something can only be discussed in personal. UMRO and NATO will report to me, and I will also speak with European leaders. We have meetings planned in London as well as in Brussels.
Meanwhile, the Kremlin has praised Trump's new national security strategy, saying that it corresponds in many ways to our vision. The new strategy warned that Europe faces civilizational erasure and that Washington wanted to re-establish strategic stability with Russia. On Sunday, Trump's outgoing Ukraine envoy Keith Kellogg said that a deal to end the Ukraine war was really close and now depends on resolving just 2 main outstanding issues: the future of the Donbas region and the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump expressed disappointment with his Ukrainian counterpart Zelensky as he didn't read the proposal to end the conflict with Russia, while Putin has accepted it.
We've been speaking to President Putin, and we've been speaking to Ukrainian leaders, including Zelensky, President Zelensky. And I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed that President Zelensky hasn't yet read the proposal. That was as of a few hours ago. His people love it, but he hasn't. Russia's fine with it. Russia I guess would rather have the whole country when you think of it. But Russia is, I believe, fine with it, but I'm not sure that Zelensky is fine with it. His people love it, but he hasn't read it.
Donald Trump Jr. said the American public had no appetite to write checks to fund Kiev in Ukraine's ongoing conflict with neighboring Russia. Speaking at the Doha Forum in Qatar, the son of the US president added that Europe's idea to wait for Russia to go bankrupt was not a workable plan. Since Russia's 2014 taking over of Crimea and its 2022 conflict with Ukraine, US strategies have designated Moscow as an aggressor or a threat that was trying to destabilize the post-Cold War order by force.
So there was no appetite for that, but that didn't stop a Republican Party from saying it's the #1 issue. It's not, and we actually have to listen to the will of those people. So we want peace, we want to stop the death, but I even saw that yesterday where, you know, on this very stage, what was the idea for Europe, who is on the border of Ukraine, who has much more at stake if this happens? Well, our plan is to win economically when pressed on the issue. How are you going to do that? Well, we're just going to wait for Russia to go bankrupt. That's not a plan. That's not an idea.
Meanwhile, Kremlin has welcomed US President's new national security strategy and said it largely accorded with Russia's own perceptions, a rare time where Moscow has strongly praised such a document from its former Cold War foe. The US national security strategy described Trump's vision as one of flexible realism and argued that the US should revive the 19th century Monroe Doctrine, which declared the Western Hemisphere to be Washington's zone of influence. The strategy, signed by Trump, also warned that Europe faces civilizational erasure, that it was a core US interest to negotiate an end to the conflict in Ukraine, and that Washington wanted to re-establish strategic stability with Russia. Now, British Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper will meet her American counterpart Marco Rubio in Washington today to discuss Ukraine. This is Cooper's first visit to the US capital since becoming Britain's top diplomat in September. The transatlantic allies talks are set to also focus on the situation in Gaza and ongoing conflict in Sudan and the urgent need to press the warring parties to agree to a humanitarian truce, the prevention of atrocities and humanitarian access. Shifting focus now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the second phase of a US plan to end the conflict in Gaza was close, though he cautioned several key issues still needed to be resolved, including whether a multinational security force would be deployed. A ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is entering its second month. Israel retained control of 53% of Gaza under the first phase of Trump's plan, which involved the release of hostages held in Gaza and of Palestinians detained by Israel. The final hostage remains to be handed over are those of an Israeli police officer killed on October 7, 2023, fighting Gazan terrorists who had invaded Israel. Since the ceasefire started in October, Hamas has re-established itself in the rest of Gaza. According to the plan, Israel is to pull back further in the second phase as the transitional authority is established in Gaza and a multinational security force is deployed. Hamas is disarmed and reconstruction begins. A multinational coordination center has been established in Israel, but there are no deadlines in the plan, and officials involved say that efforts to advance it have stalled. Netanyahu was speaking to reporters alongside German Chancellor Friedrich Merz in Jerusalem shortly after visiting the Holocaust Memorial Yad Vashem. Netanyahu said that he would hold important discussions with US President at the end of the month on how to ensure the plan's second phase was achieved.
I think simultaneous with the advance to the second stage, I think it's important to make sure that Hamas complies, not only with the ceasefire, but also with their commitment, which they undertook, to disarm and have Gaza demilitarized. That's not something that is not part of something that they committed to. They committed to it. And so I think we'll be having very important conversations at the end of the month on how to ensure that this second stage is achieved. We're about to finish the first stage. We're there, almost. But we have to make sure that we achieved the same results in the second stage, and that's something I look forward to discussing with President Trump.
Meanwhile, Chancellor Merz reaffirmed Germany's commitment to diplomacy, stressing the need for long-term thinking.
Above all, we will continue our diplomatic efforts to bring about peace. One thing is certain, Hamas cannot play any role in Gaza. Hamas must no longer pose a threat to Israel. We must not take short-sighted action or think in the short term. After the trauma of war suffered by both Israelis and Palestinians, we must lay the foundations for a new order in the region, a new order in which Israelis, Palestinians, and Arab neighbors can live in lasting peace, freedom, security, and dignity.
Separately, in New York, the United States, Israel and Qatar held a trilateral meeting. As per reports, it came months after Israeli jets conducted an airstrike in Doha, unsuccessfully targeting Hamas leadership. It was the highest level meeting between the countries since the deal to end the conflict in Gaza, for which Qatar served as a key mediator. Reports suggest that White House envoy Steve Witkoff hosted the meeting with Mossad spy chief David Barnea representing Israel and an unnamed senior Qatari official in attendance. On Saturday, Qatar and Egypt both called for the withdrawal of Israeli troops and the deployment of an international stabilization force to fully implement the fragile agreement to end the conflict in Gaza. Now, Japan has summoned China's ambassador to lodge a strong protest after Chinese military aircraft locked radar onto Japanese fighter jets. Japan's Vice Foreign Minister Takehiro Funakoshi summoned Chinese ambassador Wu Jinghao on Sunday, lodging a strong protest against the incident, calling it extremely regrettable. Japan's defense ministry reported that Chinese military aircraft twice locked their radar onto Japanese fighter jets southeast of Okinawa on Saturday. The Chinese Navy, however, denied the claims, calling them inconsistent with the facts. Japanese Foreign Ministry has asked the Chinese government to prevent similar incidents in the future. The West African nation's government and armed forces thwarted a coup attempt by a group of soldiers on Sunday and vowed to punish them. Benin President Patrice Talon said his government and military had thwarted a coup after soldiers declared his removal on state TV amid gunfire in Cotonou. He added that loyal forces had regained control, defeated the mutineers and promised punishment while showing concern for victims and those captured by the fleeing rebels. A government official reported that 14 people had been arrested in connection with the coup by Sunday afternoon.
In coordination with the command of the Defense and Security Forces, I have taken the necessary actions to maintain peace, to ensure the security and tranquility of all throughout the national territory. I would like to commend the sense of duty of our army and its leaders, who have remained Republican and loyal to the homeland. With them, we stood firm, regained positions until we cleared the last pockets of resistance from the mutineers.
Repris les positions jusqu'à nettoyer.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. A 15-year-old food stall owner in Sydney, Australia keeps a phone on a tripod close while cooking his signature chicken noodle dish because he films his after-school kitchen routine, which has gained tens of thousands of views on social media to show how he works and engage his audience. The German Christmas market near Shanghai's Christkindl market is a popular holiday spot with long queues, especially for cotton candy shaped like Christmas trees and snowmen. Meanwhile, Shanghai Disneyland launched its annual Frostival featuring musical tree lighting and winter decor. Hundreds of Pakistani Christians participated in a Christmas rally in Islamabad with men dressed as Santa Claus riding camels along the streets, chanting Christmas greetings to celebrate the holiday season. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Monday marks the 90th birth anniversary of Hindi cinema's He-Man Dharmendra. And India beat Wales 3-1 at Junior Women's World Cup.
geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. German Foreign Minister Johann Wadephul has kicked off his visit to China by stressing the need for fair and rules-based trade. The trip comes after some diplomatic tensions. Joining us now from Berlin is DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbelu. Hi Chiponda, good to have you. Tell us what's the latest from Beijing.
Johann Wadephul has said Germany wants to maintain and expand its trade relationship with China. Now, Wadephul noted that China is the leading trading partner of Germany. But economic relations between the two countries have soured in recent years, so this trip is being watched very closely. It was originally planned for October, but it was cancelled at short notice by the foreign minister himself. And that is because Wadephul had not been able to schedule talks with enough high-profile people in China, and that's according to political insiders here in Berlin. And they say Wadephul made relations with China even frostier after denouncing what he called China's increasingly aggressive behavior in the Taiwan Strait. So there is a lot riding on this trip, and both German and Chinese officials will have a lot of ground to cover, given the current areas of disagreement.
Yeah, Chiponda, also what is expected to dominate the talks?
Well, rare earths, that's definitely going to be a big topic. Now, since last April, when Beijing announced export controls on rare earths, European manufacturers have been struggling to get access to the critical materials. And the foreign minister actually told a German broadcaster today that Beijing is still far away from lifting those export restrictions. Now, German businesses are extremely dependent on China for the supply of rare earths, which are required to make products, especially in the tech sector, the auto industry, and defense as well. German industry has already warned that a lack of reliable access to critical materials could affect production. And last week, the country's leading auto industry association, the VDA, called for a more constructive dialogue between China and Germany. Now, with China controlling around 80% of the global production of rare earths, European industry needs Chinese suppliers. But rare earths are not the only big topic today.
All right, Chimpunda, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your time. Moving on, defense tech experts from across Europe gathered in Warsaw to share innovations in drone warfare. Around 1,000 pioneers in anti-drone weapons and electronic warfare got together for the European Defense Tech Hackathon in the Polish capital. New equipment on show included cutting-edge anti-drone robot turrets capable of shooting down drones at close range. The teams drew on experience from the conflict in Ukraine, where drones have become a key weapon for both Russia and Ukraine. All right, sports updates now. We'll start with hockey. The Indian junior women's hockey team secured a 3-1 win over Wales in their 9-16 qualification match at the FIA Junior Women's World Cup in Santiago, Chile. India started strongly, earning an early penalty corner, but Wales missed a penalty stroke as goalkeeper Nidhi saved brilliantly. Hina Bano opened the scoring in 14th minute, followed by Sunelita Topo's 24th minute strike to give India a 2-0 lead at half-time. Ishika added a third early in the 31st minute. In the second half, throughout the match, India dominated possession and pressed high, keeping Wales under pressure. Eloise Smoot pulled one back, but it was only a consolation as India held firm. India will next face Uruguay on 9th December. And India went down 1-5 to defending champion Germany in the semi-finals of the FIH Hockey Men's Junior World Cup 2025 in Chennai. Germany took control early with Lucas Kostel scoring twice and teammates Titus Wex Jonas Vaughan and Ben Hasbach adding goals inside 50 minutes. India's only reply came in the 51st minute when Anmolika converted a penalty corner despite enjoying more possession in the second quarter and creating openings through Ajit Yadav and Arshdeep Singh. India could not break Germany's strong defence. Goalkeeper Princedeep Singh made several saves but was unable to stop the relentless attack. India will now meet Argentina in third place playoff on December 10. From hockey to football, Real Madrid suffered a shock 2-0 loss and finished with 9 men against Celta Vigo in La Liga. Willot Sweetberg scored an audacious goal with his heel and a second in stoppage time to save the host 4 points off leaders Barcelona. Real's cause was not helped by the dismissal of Fran Garcia, who picked up 2 yellow cards. Real defender Alvaro Carreras was also dismissed at the end of the game after 2 cautions. Real stay on 36 points from 16 games as Celta celebrated a first win at the Bernabeu Stadium in 19 years. And Brazilian footballer Neymar will undergo a knee surgery after playing through the pain to help Santos avoid relegation in Serie A with a 3-0 win over Cruzeiro. Neymar had returned to his childhood club Santos in January after a stint in Saudi Arabia. He had a crucial impact in his team's survival in Brazilian top flight, scoring 5 goals in the last 4 matches. Neymar has not featured for Brazil in 2 years due to a succession of injuries. Currently, there are no details on the surgery or a timeline on his expected recovery. National team head coach Carlo Ancelotti said the forward must regain full fitness if he is to earn a recall to the squad for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And Monday marks the 90th birth anniversary of Hindi cinema's He-Man Dharmendra. In a career spanning 65 years, he delivered some of Indian cinema's most iconic performances, becoming a symbol of charm, strength and effortless versatility. Diptanshu Kashyap brings us more in this report.
One of Hindi cinema's most enduring screen icons, Dharmendra's work spanned genres, generations and a vast emotional range. Known for his effortless charm, quiet strength and unmistakable presence, Dharmendra remains among the most influential figures in the Indian cinema. Born Dharam Singh Deol in 1935 in Sahnewal, Punjab, he arrived in Bombay after winning a Filmfare talent contest and made his debut in 1960 with the movie Dil Bhi Tera Hum Bhi Tere. Over the next decades, Dharmendra became one of the most recognizable faces of the Indian cinema, delivering memorable performances in many movies including Anupama, Phool Aur Patthar, Satyakam, Sita Aur Geeta, Mera Gaon Mera Desh, and the iconic Sholay. His versatility, from intense drama to effortless comedy and action, cemented his place as a star admired across generations. He later stepped out into public life as a member of parliament from Bikaner in Rajasthan between 2004 and 2009, even as he continued to appear in films such as Apne, Yamla Pagla Divana, and Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani. Dharmendra passed away on November 24th this year in Mumbai at the age of 89, leaving behind a legacy that continues to define Hindi cinema. His warmth, humility, and deep connection with audiences remain inseparable from his on-screen legacy. With a final performance set to arrive in the movie Ikkis this Christmas, his 6-decade journey stands as a testament to timeless stardom and enduring influence. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
And that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.